Hello, welcome back to the Fish Locker, out on a glorious morning on the boat. Now, today we're going out and we're targeting sharks. I'm just feathering up a bit of bait. Now, it's been an amazing morning already. I got out just before daybreak and I've been treated to, right, that one's a little bit small. Been treated to dolphins, porpoise, gannets, shearwaters and bluefin tuna. Now, not just one or two either, a massive shoal of probably 100, some of them being maybe 4 to 5 foot long. It's these what they're eating. These, and I've managed to feather up a little bit of bait already. I've got a couple of scad, a couple of mackerel. Most of the feed though, as you can see straight away there, is pilchards and little mackerel, and they've been busting these bait balls up to the surface and then just erupting. With any luck I might be able to show you some on the camera today, but they've just been insane. One of them erupted next to the boat as I was steaming along. It made me jump out of my skin, to be honest. All of a sudden it just started going. I'll have to keep him because he's foul looked. Yeah, like you see, I've got a couple of nice scad and a couple of mackerel already. But I mean 195 feet of water, and there's about 45 feet of it that's clear, that hasn't got fish in it. So you know what the tuna are here for. Unfortunately, these little tiny mackerel and these little tiny pilchards are getting to the lures first, and I can't get any of the bigger stuff. I'm going to steam out for maybe another half an hour. We've just got an hour left of the tide, and I'm going to wait until the start of the ebb. Well, that one's slightly better. Next, I've got an hour left of the ebb. The hour left of the flood, and then I'm going to fish all of the ebb. So I'm just going to try and get one long drift, and then we'll steam back in. Any luck, I'll be able to show you some nice fish. Look. That's the thing when fishing for mackerel and things like this, is once you get one, you've got like 5 or 6 hooks on. If you get one bite, there's no point reeling it all in straight away. Just keep tension and hold it down for a little bit longer, and you might pick up a couple more. That one fish could turn into 2 or 3 or even a full string. Unfortunately, right now, that full string is like finger-sized mackerel. Generally, when you're fishing like this, if you hold onto the lead and suspend them out, they will bounce themselves off the hook quite easily. Oh, off you come. Yeah, I tell you what, this one really wanted it. If you would stop wriggling so much, you'd be able to go off the hook easier. No. I'll have one more drop, and if it's just small ones again, we'll move on and try and find some others. Yeah, those tuna are incredible. It isn't like a sleek, streamlined entrance into the water like a dolphin, where it goes like just a like a proper eruption. See how I'm feathering it down? That's to try and keep in control with where the weight and the hooks are. This isn't your typical setup. This is a 20-pound ugly stick, and this is a Penn spin fisher. Now I did say when I got the spin fisher that I was going to trial it out with sharks to see how it handled it. Hopefully today I'll be able to do that. Managed to go all the way through them that time. Now let's head off. I don't know if you can see in the distance there is an eruption of tuna. Maybe about 300 yards back that way. You just see the splashes. You can hear them generally before you see them. Just in like a. I'm just setting up. I'll talk you through everything properly when I'm fully set up. I'll just turn the camera on in case you can see those tuna there. Got the first chum bag out, the first rod out. I'm just tidying the deck up a little bit and then I'll talk you through it. Right, that's it. We're slightly more organised now. Them tuna are just still busting all around the place. You can hear them every time you took around. You look over there and there's one there, and then you hear one and there's one over there. It's fantastic to see. First things first. The key to shark fishing is the chum. Maintaining a good, strong, continuous chum slick. And what I have in here is I have a pail of homemade chum. I don't know if you can see that in there. I'm not going to go into exactly how I make it. I'll leave that for another time. But all I've done is I just load up. These are old laundry sacks. I just load up one of these, double the bag up so the meshes are a bit tighter so it doesn't come out as quick. And I've actually got it in a bucket over the side and loads of holes in the bucket. That works twofold in that it's a slower release, and it means that if a shark comes up it can't bite the bag, which they often do. If it bites the bag and releases all the chum, it's just a massive cloud of scent, and then you leave it and all the fish will stick to where that is. I have one rod out at the back, you can see there, which is quite a heavy setup, but I want to show you the difference between the two. And I'm fishing this, it's maybe, what are we, 80 yards away from the boat. I have it fishing on the ratchet, which is this, and that's my deep rod. My furthest rod away is the deepest rod, so I'm fishing that. That would have been funny right then, wouldn't it? I have got a float on there, a bottle float. I'll show you that in a sec. I'll get one out for you now. Use these as floats. They're bright, easy to see. The trace is quite simple. I have trace body with the lead locked in, ending in a coxswain roll. I think this is a number 5 or a number 6 coast lock swivel on one end and a Flemish eye on the other. And my hook lengths, I've got a 12/0 coxswain roll Mutsu Circle Extra. I think that's right. Circle Extra, Mutsu Extra, Mutsu Circle Extra, Mutsu Extra Circle, whatever it is. It's a Mutsu Circle on a trace of about maybe 4 to 5 feet bite trace. And I like putting muppets on them. I like using muppets in a lot of my fishing. You'll have probably seen that if you've seen any of my other videos. And fishing with circle hooks, you have to set the hook in a certain way. The reason I use circle hooks is because they're easier to unhook, especially when you crush the barb like this. See there, look, the barb's been crushed down. They offer a good hookup. You don't very often deep hook fish with circle hooks, and they're easier to get out. But that means that you have to set the hook in a certain way. Generally what you have to do is the fish will swallow a circle hook and it won't hook up, and as soon as you tighten up to the fish, it pulls the hook out and it turns in the corner of its mouth. So you have to tighten down to the fish, either let the fish run away from you or tighten down and then lift. Don't strike, you just kind of lift into the fish and let the weight of the fish hook itself. Hopefully I'll get to show you. It might be easier, it might be easier to understand if I show you. But yeah, I've got that rod fishing out of distance and deep, and I'm going to put another rod in close, in shallow. I am fishing baited feathers on the bottom at the minute. I'm going to go down. It is a real handful fishing 2 rods when you're sharking by yourself. So I'm not going to be fishing 2 rods and baited feathers. I've got baited feathers down there at the minute to try and pick up some whiting, because whiting also are a good hook bait. Now I have had one already. Not a bad size whiting. Perfect for a hook bait. When I've rigged my other rod up, I'll show you it, and I will show you how I bait the hooks. One rod is going to be sight because it's close. The other rod, I fish it on the ratchets so that when I'm give that the tiniest little bit of drag to, as we're going over swell, it's pulling the line out the ratchet. Any luck, and as we go throughout the day, I will be able to tell you different things and show you different things. The key, like this, when you're on a small boat by yourself, is preparation and tidiness. So right to hand, I have my gloves, my T-bar, everything that I'll need if I hook a fish is right here to hand, and everything else is out of the way, because you don't want to be tripping over stuff and banging into stuff and looking for things when you're playing a decent sized fish. This is my proper sharking setup. This is the one that I use the most. This is the one that's the most fun. And it's a carbo fixed spool with a carbo spinning rod. Now it's a 250 gram spinning rod. And I've got Daiwa J braid on there. And all I have, as you can see, got a sliding float on there. And then to your steel trace, 5, 10 feet with your lead on, and another 5 feet, just less, 4 feet of bite trace. It's one of the whiting that I've just feathered up, and all I've done is just flapped it and just sliced it a little bit, and then all you do, instead of letting the bail arm off on this like that, line just peels off too quick and you can end up where you just get like a massive bird's nest. It's better to back the drag off like that and feed the line out. Now this is only going to be set at about, say, 20 to 25 feet, so it's going to be right near to the boat. I like having a rod near to the boat because if you see a shark around on the surface, you can quickly wind this in a little bit and then sometimes like hand feed it. I don't know if you can see this chum slick here now. Well, I'll do a little bit of a video so you can see it leaving. There you can see the chum slick leaving the bags. And I don't know if you can see properly, but it creates like a shiny, like a road. You can just see it running up in the distance there. There's my near float, there's my further float. And as we're drifting in that direction, and the chum slick goes in that direction now, any sharks that come into the slick from either side, they'll come in and then just hone in on the boat. But that's it, we just sit and wait now. We're drifting in that direction. We've got wind and tide together. Chum slick's going out nicely behind the boat. All we need now is some fish. We have a shark in this slick by the furthest float. Doesn't look like a big one, but it's a fish. Just saw the dorsal fin come up and swirl around the float. Look at these baited feathers out of the way. We had a minke whale around the boat about maybe 10 or 15 minutes ago. Yeah, they do like the floats for some reason. Just comes round and like has a peck at them and gives them a bat. Any luck, and he'll be homing his way in on the chum bag. The reason I have the furthest float, the reason I have the furthest away float deeper is because as you're drifting along this way and the scent comes out, it sinks, so it gets deeper the further away you go. We aren't drifting as quickly as I would like. We're drifting at about a knot, half a knot to a knot, so very slowly. I would like at least a knot. All that means, it just means that we aren't covering as much ground. I don't know where it's gone now. I'd like to leave the camera on so that you can see what the bite's like, see how you strike into it. Yeah, he's out there. Just seen another swirl. All I was doing there was I was bringing the bait up in the water. See if I could get its attention. It's back. Because I aren't drifting very fast, my chum slick is quite wide, and all it seems to be doing is it's just making its way towards me. Unfortunately, when you've just got one on its own like that, it's got the ability to just pick and choose, to take its time. It'll just amble along. If it doesn't like the look of a bait, it won't have it. Get 3 or 4 of them there, and they're thinking, oh no, I better get that quick before he gets it, and they're on it. You'll see them zoom straight in them. This fish is maybe only 30 feet away from the boat. It's not a big one, like I said. Maybe 15 to 20 pound. See if I can mess about and get him on the hook. That all happened a bit fast. I just took my life jacket off to take my polo shirt off, and the rod screamed away. We have one on. it's actually spinning the boat around. Now the float, this wasn't a little bite. The float just screamed off, just went, line started peeling out. The float's showing here now. Spun us right the way around the 360. Line out of the way. Right. Just towing the boat around. Always happens when you're not prepared, doesn't it? Like I said, literally just taking my life jacket off to take my polo shirt off. Life jacket on inside out now. Here she comes. It's not a bad sized blue, this. I knew it was ready for another one. I could see it. I could feel in the fish, and I could see that it was just kind of holding there. It wasn't quite ready. Right. Oh. You have to make sure you properly play them out. If your drag's too tight, they wrap themselves up. and you just end up pulling them to the boat when you aren't tired. Now the problem that I'm going to have in a minute is I'm going to have to put the rod down and get hold of the trace to deal with the shark. When you do that, you need to back the drag off, because if you drag still tight like this, you put the rod in the holder. If you have to let go because the fish is going to run again, as soon as the line tightens up to the rod, it can break your rod. This isn't the small one that I saw. This one might go 40 or 50 pound. See if I can get it up to the surface for you to see. No. No, I didn't want to. There he is, can you see him? See the bait in the corner of his mouth? There you go. I'd put him being over 30, might go 40. There you go. Right, that's that fish back. I wouldn't normally bring a shark on board. The only reason why I brought that one on board was it was small enough to handle easily, and I wanted to show you what the sharks look like. Now usually you just T-bar them off at the side. Any bigger than that, and not only would it be a bit dicey in a small boat, but a big fish, they're used to the weight of the water supporting their body weight. God, there's about 30 dolphins all around me. So a bigger shark like that, if you bring them on deck and you can't slide them in through a door, it's not good for the shark. So if we get any more, you'll just see me T-bar them off at the side. Problem I've got now is the wind's picked up a little bit early, and the tide and the wind are about the same. There's not one that's going to take over the other. So our floats are starting to overtake us, and although we're drifting at 0.9, 0.8, 1.1, 0.9, around about a knot, the floats are drifting at the same speed as us. So while the chum slick's heading out like that, it just means it's a really broad slick, and what you want is a nice long straight one. Any luck, as the tide picks up, maybe the tide will overpower the wind, maybe the wind will pick up and we'll start start lining up a bit. But the problem with it being like this, if you go a real broad slick, is the fish just meander around. Whereas if it's a nice long straight chum slick, they know exactly where to hone in for. I've just got I've got a pool of slick as far as I can see, like 300 yards around every side of me. That's it all there. Anyway, you can see where it's shiny. Where it's rippled is where it's windy, and where it's shiny is where my chum slick is. And I've just gone round in a big horseshoe. It's not ideal, but we might be able to pick out another fish. We can but try. Well, I'm fishing with the baited feathers while I'm waiting for the drift to sort itself out. Fishing with the baited feathers. Got myself a little poor cod. And put him in the chum. And I got myself a lovely one of these. Come on, calm down. They're covered in spikes, so you have to be quite careful when you handle them. Can you hear them grunting? They are gorgeous, aren't they? I don't know if you can see as well, but they're inside of their gills and inside their mouths, yellow. These, they walk about on the seabed in these, but they've got the brightest blue eye. Yeah. They don't seem to mind the depth. Come all the way up and go all the way back down again, gurnards. Quite a hardy fish. Covered in spikes, like I say. Lovely looking fish. Love catching them. There's some not bad size whiting down there. Just on the baited sabikis. See the size of the hook that caught it on. Yeah, they're not a bad size then. And that's what they've been eating. Little tiny sprats. It's good to keep fishing with feathers when you're sharking. Not only do you give you something to do when there's not going on, but it keeps fish moving through the water, which brings sharks in as well. And all I've been doing is that the whiting that I've been catching, the smaller ones that are blown, that are dead, that aren't going to go back, I chopping them up to little cubes and putting them in the chum bag. Just giving them a bash around. We are drifting kind of at a diagonal now. At least we've settled to where we're going. We're drifting kind of in that direction there. The wind's pushing us like this and the tide's pushing us that way. So floats are maybe, I don't know if you can't see them out the side of the frame, about 30 feet away and about 80 feet away. Any luck, and as the tide pushes on and we'll cover a bit more ground, we will find another fish or two. Right, I've fished for as long as I'm going to fish. We've the drift slowed right down. We're doing half a knot, and as you can see, there is absolutely not a breath of wind. All we're doing is just spinning round and round in circles. What you hope for, I mean, if the forecast had been, if the weather had been as forecast, we would have had about 8 to 10 mile an hour winds here, so it would have been perfect. Because what you like is, you like wind and tide together, or even wind against tide, as long as one's stronger than the other, so that you can maintain a nice long straight slick. All that's happening now at the minute is I'm sat in the middle of probably 300 metres in every direction of chum. So even if I am attracting sharks, they don't know where I am. Which really glad I got that fish earlier on. We've had two sharks in the slick so far today. We had a little tiny one first off, and then we had a slightly bigger one which we got on board, which was about £40, 30 to 40 pounds. It's a bit of a controversial topic, boating sharks. I don't really see that much of a problem with boating small blues. Big fish, big sharks, poor beagles, big blues, that type of thing. They need the support of the water to support their internal organs. Small ones, not so much. They're a little bit easier to handle as well, especially on your own in a small boat. It's that one was about the right size to be able to lift out, just to show you. But 95% of the time, I'll just tee-by them off at the side of the boat. Yeah, I'm really glad I got that shark. You can see here, look, this line now, we're just spinning round. Lovely day at sea, just not great for sharking. Seen all sorts. Gannets, dolphins, tons of bait balls. I mean, there's tons of little white bait all around the boat now. Coming for the slick. Loads of tuna. Be really nice to be able to accidentally hook one of those later on in the year. This isn't the last video I'm going to do. Hopefully in the next few weeks I'll come out sharking again. Hopefully with a bit more luck. See, target species is still target species. I hope you've enjoyed the video. I hope it's possibly been useful to you. I mean, let me know how you get on if you get a chance to go sharking. I'm going to finish packing up here, and then I might try and stop off on the way back to see if I can catch a couple of whiting, and then we'll take them home and see if I can't get me my lovely lady to do as a catch and cook. In the meantime, I hope you have a nice day, and I'll see you later on. Oh, I think that's a pollock. I've still got it. It feels like a good one. I think I picked up a little mackerel on the way down. Literally as soon as I got to the bottom, boom! It's either taken the feathers or picked up a little mackerel on the way down. No, it's Mr. Pollock. That's a bonus fish, isn't it? Don't know if he'll go back or not. Sometimes with pollock, if you dive them in head first like that. Ah, well done. Yeah. If you dive them in head first, not only does it give them a head start to get to the bottom, but it kind of kick starts them into swimming, and they'll go back like that one. Pollock are quite bad for blowing, and that's what they have. They suffer with barotrauma, and their swim bladders blow. And there's a minke whale out here. I keep seeing it just come. Well, we're not after pollock, we're after whiting, so we'll go around and have another drift.